welcome back everyone to some more ANRPC from Game Castle in Santa Clara, California, right near San Jose. ANRPC is a fan-run tournament series. I'll put the URL there on the video so you could go there and read more about it. I want to get right into the games here. So I have with me commentating Calvin. Calvin Souther is here commentating. How are you doing, Calvin?
I'm well, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And this game here is the third game I recorded, the second round of, what do we do, 6 rounds of Swiss that day?
Ooh, I think it was 7.
6 or 7 rounds of Swiss that day. It was a long day. Yeah, 7 might be right. So we have Todd on the right playing Valencia, and myself, Brian, on the left playing NEH, representing Jackson Howard there with my t-shirt. That might come into frame here. T-shirt my girlfriend put together. And the game is pushing forward here. So NEH here, install, draw a card. And Valencia getting set up. So that looked like what, a sure gamble into a daily cast with the career fear play. So money, money, money.
Yep.
And have you played much against Valencia in tournaments?
No, not really. I built a deck with her, and it's fun to use, but it's sort of a wacky deck that involves Desperado, and so that's a lot of influence.
So this was a really interesting tournament in that Old Hollywood was just released. I think I forgot to mention that. This was an Old Hollywood tournament, and it just released like 2 days before this tournament, and so everyone was scrambling to get the Film Critic into their decks and trying to figure out how to counter the Film Critic and so on. So my approach to countering Film Critic, sort of spoil things a bit, was to not care about it. So I am not playing Butcher Shop, and I don't care if they Film Critic any of the agendas. So here, running into the Architect and letting it trigger.
Yeah,
what are we going to see? Yeah, and I'm just glad I was able to play the Hedge Fund before Resing, because sometimes if you get that Architect and you're going down to 1 credit, it can be a little rough. It's more of a decision, but now I could control what card he's going to see, and I get a couple free clicks of work here. And as you can see, he has already installed the Film Critic. He's not even screwing around with that.
Install over archives.
Yeah, did you play against much of Butcher Shop recently?
Let's see. On this day, I played against one, I think, and also a PE deck. And Film Critic came in handy. I think there was also maybe even a Wayland deck that was trying to kill me, where I was able to stay alive a lot longer. With Film Critic.
They were trying to mid-season you in that Wayland deck. Yeah, okay. So what runner were you playing with Film Critic?
It was Kate.
Oh, okay.
I swapped a couple of Film Critics in there, and it's great. It's a great card. I understand there's a bit of controversy surrounding it right now. There's a lot of conversation on Reddit about what the Corp can and cannot do when it comes to Film Critic.
Oh, the new rulings where you could actually install an agenda on Film Critic and start advancing it, and some weird stuff going on. But so in the game here, we had a run on the pad campaign, which he trashed because he does have that one bad publicity from Valencia, and it's always Valencia puts weird pressure on you because she really you have to assume that Valencia has the I was hoping this card would come to mind. What is the card? The blackmail, of course, letting Valencia run on a server and not allowing you to res ice if you have bad publicity. So you have to assume that Valencia has that, and it really shapes a lot of your decisions throughout the whole game, but definitely in the early game.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I definitely like to try and rush out an Astra script early behind something like a wraparound or a wall of static. And so he did already trash the SanSan, you could see there, and he trashed the pad campaign. So he's keeping up on my assets, keeping my economy a bit low, and his economy is sitting at 10 or 11 here.
Yeah, it's hard to see. Maybe it's just like 6 or something.
I think it's a 5 and some 1s, I think. But yeah, it's a little bit hard to tell. Let's see. Oh no, it might all be 1s. Yeah, maybe he's at 8 now. So my deck here, I could speak about my deck more than his. I mean, just based on what we see here, we can see of his deck. It's he just put out Street Peddler here, but this deck here.
Also, oh, go ahead.
Oh, you know, Street Peddler was all... There was a lot of Anarchs. I played against 4 Anarchs on this during this tournament.
Yeah, it was everywhere.
Oh, there was just a subtle tell there. He lifted a film critic as he was running, indicating that he was going to be using it. Not that there was much I could do to counter that, but... Oh, okay, so I thought maybe he was going to parasite it, but looks like not. Using Jackson there. And I was on the train of thought there, and I forget what I was going to talk about the deck. So this deck here is, the idea is it's supposed to be a hybrid between Fast Advance and Glacier, which sounds kind of stupid, but that was the concept. Fast Advance in the sense that SanSan is an incredible card. Like, there's basically no reason not to play SanSan if you're NBN. It's just that good. Even if they just trash it, it's still doing massive amounts of work.
Right.
And, of course, Astroscript has Fast Advance. And then from there, my Glacier tech was I had 2 Ichi ones, and I had a couple toll booths. I'm trying to remember other big pieces. Not a lot of big pieces of ice, but I had things like Wall of Static. Okay, he's peddling something here. Okay, so he's getting Wild Side out, set up for next turn. And going down to nothing on his credits there. But I do have a couple copies of Ash in the deck. And I also have a lot of Burst Econ, which you can see right there. There's the Burst Econ with the restructures.
Oh boy, yep.
Yeah, so this was kind of the idea behind the deck. I was taking the NEH Fast Advance shell, removing some of the more extreme pieces I've never been a fan of. Like, I never play Fast Track. Biotic, I was like a one of, if that. I never really liked those cards. So I got rid of those, and then I imported some stuff like Restructure and Ash, and that was the idea. And this deck did very good on the day. I think it only lost 1 game.
Yeah, I remember, like, last year, I think during regionals or something, there were a lot of making news decks with Ash that were a real pain in the ass.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Making use, of course, boosting Ash that much more. So he just played Wildside. It looks like he did have... Oh, did he take money off of... Yeah, he took Liberated after that, probably. And so Faust is on the table. This was another card that was ubiquitous on the day. Did you see a lot of Faust in play?
I did. I think I even forgot about it the first time and got wrecked.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah. It's a really interesting card. Oh.
Huh. What you just... Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I install Advance, and that lets me kill the Liberated, I think.
Perfect.
Yep. Kill the Liberated. It really suppresses his ability to trash that SanSan now, which is something he absolutely needs to do.
Right.
And what I also like to do with these Wildside decks is I like to let them keep the Wildside,
okay,
but kill the Chronotype if they have it, and kill their Econ if they have it. Because then they just get flooded up with cards, and then they're in this weird position where, well, Faust is out, so that's another interesting aspect to this. But they start to have to, like, use those cards psychologically, at least, and so they spend a lot of time and money, time and effort clicking for credits, playing cards from their hand, while I'm just developing the board state more and scoring out.
Sure, but I mean, it also, like, it's a tough call, I think, because you're also sort of funneling them into, like, having to use Faust, like just forcing them to ditch cards,
true,
because they're drawing too many,
And if he had medium and just started hitting R&D there with Faust and his Wildside, that could have backfired on me big time. I don't know if I would have been able to respond to that so quick. But he did something interesting there. He took a couple of credits, I think, and then ran maybe just 1 credit, and then ran the SanSan to trash it with Bad Pub. So he massively... I wasn't expecting that, I think. I think I was expecting when I did that he would prioritize his hand more.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have the time to sort of use that SanSan again. So Cortex Lock.
Uh-oh.
It's this is an easy decision here. He spends a couple cards to break it, or he takes 3 net damage. So
yeah,
in this case, you always just use Faust, because that's net damage you can control.
Right.
So
yeah, like you were saying, even though Architect is the only piece of ice that's rezzed over R&D, it's still a little bit taxing, even with Faust. Like, you've got to dump 3 cards each time you go through there, and it's rough.
Okay, so this was interesting. He has the bad publicity, so he is able to trash the Cyberdex Virus Suite. And he also, I don't know if you noticed, but he trashed 2 core cards there to get through, which was Parasite and Blackmail. Those, especially for a Faust deck, I think a Faust deck, Parasites are really valuable. You know, that's helping you. You know, you can only draw so much. Even if you have Wild Side out, you can only draw so much. And so he had to get rid of 2 very important cards there. And he might already have another Blackmail on hand. He might have the same old thing in hand. But it looks like I'm trying to set up a remote scorer at this point.
Yeah, he's kind of falling behind here, it seems. I mean, he can get in if he needs to, but he doesn't have any credits. And he's, you know, down to 3 clicks a turn.
Yeah, exactly. He has all these cards coming in, so he's running. He's making use of those cards, which it's really cool that Faust you know, it gives you another sink for all that card draw.
Right.
So this is Ichi.
Oof.
So that's 3 to save his programs and 4 cards to break all subs, and then another couple for Cortex Lock if he really wants to get in.
Right.
And
so
he is.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think he's focusing on HQ here just because I signaled something in there with that install on the remote.
Sure. This is one of the
otherwise
things I've been paying a lot of attention to lately is, you know, the things that you do that make the runner react, and, like, you know, putting ice in certain places. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Stuff like that
good
happens.
for me.
You know, because the runner decides, okay, well, here's the easiest spot. There's too much ice on a certain server, or the corp is doing things, and they should respond to it accordingly. And it's something I'm thinking a lot about lately, like keeping my hand full if I'm dealing with Leela and gang signs, stuff like that, or otherwise not playing, for instance, a hedge fund just because I can, in order to keep my hand full of cards and keep the density of agendas down.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like, we're kind of trained to always just play the hedge fund as soon as you can.
Right.
But sometimes it makes more sense to use it in a different way, like you just mentioned. So a few things just happened there I wanted to point out. He did get the Astra script scored, and he sat there for a while and thought about it, and he decided to put it on film credit because he wasn't sure yet if I was doing Butcher Shop. I think if he had thought about it a little bit more, he sees a lot of influence on the table. It's probably pretty unlikely that I'm doing Butcher Shop, but he decided just to play it safe there with the Astro script.
Yeah, and he's got no money, so there's no way he can prevent getting tagged.
Right, so he just decided to play it safe, which is exactly what I want him to do here. I decided to play this deck specifically because I didn't care about Film Critic. It was one of the reasons I decided to play it over something like Butcher Shop or RP or what have you. And I'm just developing board state some more. I don't have that much money, just 5, but I have some more drip coming in. He has Katie Jones out, but not a lot. He has no credits right now, it looks like.
Yeah, and even with the bad pub, trashing those marked accounts is going to be pretty taxing.
Right, yeah, I don't think he's going to bother with it. I think he would have to have something like Imp to, you know. Yeah, marked account, I usually just let it... Well, I've been playing Noise lately, and I have Imp, so I will trash them. But without Imp, it's just a type of thing where, you know, hopefully you have a way to acquire 3 credits a click as well. And hopefully you could do it faster than they can with marked accounts. So he just scores out the Astra script, or places it in his score pile with film credit.
He added it to his score area.
Added it, yes. We got to be careful with this language. Drawing a card for the first click after the mandatory. Some more card draw. That was probably a pad campaign. Looks like I have an NAPD in hand, which... How many times have you made that mistake against Leela of the install advance on the pad or on the NAPD?
I'm sorry. Oh no, yeah. I think it actually might have happened that day.
I've made that mistake. There's been 2 really important games, and I'm not going to spoil if this is one of them or not, but 2 really important. There's one at regionals this year, and there was some other game recently where I made that mistake, and it was just devastating.
Yeah, it's easily forgotten. I mean, you know, outside of Leela, there isn't a whole lot of bad pub stuff happening.
Or Valencia.
These days.
Yeah,
Sorry, Valencia.
Just a reminder, in case we're being a little too subtle for the viewers here. NAPD, the advancement cost is +1 for every bad publicity the corp has, and with Valencia, you start out with 1. So to score at NAPD, you have to install advance, so you could score it out the next turn.
Right, it's a 5 advancement.
And so what's really interesting about Valencia here, no credits. I mean, he can technically break through stuff with Faust. I do have Ash in the deck, as I mentioned before. But he's really slowing me down just with the threat of blackmail, which I think I see in his hand right now.
It's a good thing you put boot camp in.
Boot camp? Oh, you mean Elizabeth Mills?
No, boot camp you can...
What's the trick here?
Am I mistaken? Boot camp you can res a piece of ice?
You can.
Lowering...
Yeah. Okay, yeah, to counter the blackmail effect, right?
Right.
Boot camp would let you res a piece of ice.
Yeah, like lowering the cost by a credit, or what's the deal?
Yeah, at the start of your turn, you can res a card lowering the res cost by 1.
Okay.
With boot camp. I wish what I'd like here is an Ash and an Astro. That would be pretty ideal. Because with his 3 clicks, even with a blackmail, I have a pretty decent credit advantage. It would be I think it would be possible to score it out.
And you said you have 2 Ash?
I had at least 2. I'm trying to think if there's 3. I think it was just 2. And then I had some punishing ice here, like the Ichi, the Cortex lock. People don't always think about that stuff. I know Ichi is becoming more and more popular, but it catches people by surprise. And with the virus suite, you get some good combos there. So that drip is coming in nice now.
Yeah, but Adjusted Chronotype is down. I wasn't paying attention. I don't know if he trashed a clot, if there's a clot in his heap, but he's got that clone chip out, ready to do work.
Oh. I haven't been paying a lot of attention to what's going in his heap because so many cards are flowing into there, but I don't think he had a clot yet. Now Street Peddler coming up again. That's where clot can be. That's really what you have to be worried about.
Right. How many Cyberdex Virus Suites have you got? There was the one we saw.
I just play one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, ever since that card came out, I've basically always had one in a deck, and
yeah, it's a good idea.
I think it's a really good card. It's good as a one of. I don't think you need it anymore. Okay, yeah, he has the Chronotype out now on the wild side, so he does have the 4 clicks now. Look at that, blackmailing in. So I'm guessing I baited him here just because I don't think I would take a risk like this. So he does see the Jackson Howard.
You'll let him trash it for 2?
Yeah. Yeah, he lets it sit. I think
wow.
That Jackson decision, I can't really. I think there's just I didn't really feel I needed the cards that were in my archives, and I'd rather have him spend a couple of credits, but it really did its main job, which is to bait out a blackmail.
Yep.
So now I think if I could score out of there, it would be ideal. I think, would you take this risk right now? Place down the Beal or the Astra script?
Let's see. He's got 4 clicks, and he's going to have at least, 6 cards in his hand next turn?
Yeah, at least.
And he's got a clone chip. I'm not sure. I might just try to Jackson like you're doing to try to find the Ash.
Yeah, that's what I really need right here.
But then again, I think I have a tendency to play it safe too much. And
yeah, the real risk here is, I'd say, not so much the blackmail as it is just a copy of Same Old Thing.
Oh, right.
Which I don't think we've seen yet, and I'm trying to look into his hand. It's always a little bit hard to see the hands in these videos due to the glare and so on. But yeah, I think I would mostly be afraid of a Same Old Thing right now. And he is drawing so much that you don't know. He might have that third blackmail. Although there's something funny I'm remembering now, and I won't spoil it, but savvy players might be able to figure out based on that alone. It's always weird commentating one of the games that you played and that you remember. Okay, so he's going to check archives. And I am using Jackson here in 3 face downs. So those were probably NAPDs I dumped into archives after the turn where he decided not to trash the Jackson. That's my guess, right?
Yeah, it would make sense.
Look how much work trashing that liberated accounts did, though. I think that really you know,
yeah, it slowed him down. He's not really.
It slowed him
running that
down.
much. Yeah.
Exactly, but he is recovering quite nicely. Like his rig right now is really starting to scare me, and he doesn't really need that many credits. Like he's slowing me down just by having Faust and Wildside on the table. So he has 5 cards in hand.
You sweep.
So yeah, get some more money. Why not? Looks like I'm up to about 31 credits right now.
Good lord.
Yeah, this deck can make some money. It makes serious money. It's not my problem with this deck. The Wall of Static, I don't even really know. I think the reason I have it in there is because I have things that could punish face checking like Ichi and Cortex and hit breakers, and then Wall of Static does a lot of work there. And then I wanted something to tax Corroder a little bit more than just the wraparound once they get that. Installing on top of HQ, signaling that there is something in there. But it's so expensive for him to get in.
Yeah, so here again, like you're kind of pushing him clearly away from HQ. So I wonder if he's starting to think about R&D, maybe if he's got a medium or something.
Well, you know, at this point, yeah, a medium, if he gets a medium, that would be really good. But at this point, I'm thinking about, like, what should his game plan be based on what he's seeing? And he should probably, it's probably likely I don't have a Biotic Labor, just based on all the influence you're seeing, and, you know, I probably would have played it by now. So all he really has to do is save the blackmail for any sort of remote play. Because if he can trash the Ash or the SanSan, then he suppresses my ability to score out. He's going into R&D here. And this, I love seeing this. Like, he's doing Faust, and he has the Wildside, of course, which also does, you know, it's not just for Faust, obviously. Wildside is good. But he's also bringing out breakers at this point. You know, he's supplementing Faust. He's not planning to just totally depend on Faust to break.
Right.
Which is a more balanced way to play and really smart. And he's getting a Data Sucker, and sees the Eli. I'm not drawing the agenda, it looks like. Yeah, this is an awkward position to be in as a court.
Yeah, it's getting to that point where there's going to be not a whole lot you can do to keep them out.
Here we go. So that was some drawing and some throwing down cards into the remote. So that might be the Astro. It can also, it might just be something like Ash SanSan. It could also be the third Jackson SanSan, something like that. Depends how risky I'm willing to be here, because if he gets in and trashes the Ash, he can probably get in again with Faust. That's what's so scary about this rig right here.
Right, but he's only got 1 credit.
Yeah, so he's doing it though. He takes 3 credits and he runs, so that's wrap around. So he uses bad publicity to get through that. He's saving 4 and Wall of Static. Looks like I still have 23 credits, so especially considering this is last click, I don't think there's a big risk here.
Right.
So he decides to spend a couple credits there. And that was so perfect for me, because I'm going to keep him out of the server, and he's not going to be able to trash Ash here with only a couple credits.
Nice job.
Well, that's just, you know, that's one of the things that probably just I lucked out, because I mean, if he trashes Ash there, it's not horrible for me, but the fact that it's still there is so huge.
So we still don't know what's under that Street Peddler.
Correct, yeah. It could be nothing. Maybe it's 3 events. But yeah, that was a separate turn score out, so Clot was not a factor there. So something I was doing a lot around this time period, which was only maybe a couple weeks ago from when we're commentating. I'd score out a couple Astro Scripts with the tokens, so I'd just score those out behind ice or off SanSans or whatever. And then my final turn is install something into like decently secure remote. But they don't run it because they see I have Astro, so I would have just scored out if it was an agenda. They do stuff, and then my next turn is advance 3 times, dump 2 Astro tokens on the Beal for the win.
Nice.
I love doing that. I did it a couple times at tournaments around this time. Beal, I always say, is probably the most underused agenda. One of the most scored agendas, but one of the most underused. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, if Brain Trust was used more often, then it would also like fit in that category.
Yeah, Brain Trust is hard to justify. Install and load up some marked accounts.
Interesting. So he's got a decent amount of money.
He does now, yeah.
He can get into that server. How many cards does he have? Let's see. He's going to draw 2. He's probably got like 5 or 6.
Yeah, at least. He might be up to 7 even. What did he do last turn? I see the imp down, but that was just trashed, huh?
He has not clicked Kadi at all.
I think he clicked it once. But how did he get all this money then? That wasn't off Katie Jones?
No.
Okay. So he's going into R&D. And the score, as a reminder, is 3-2.
This is another blackmail. Oh, and the peddler.
So he just got the Grimoire out with Peddler, using his bad publicity, right?
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay, Clone Ship's coming out for probably a medium.
Or I think he trashed an imp also. Let's see what he does.
Yeah, he wants to get the medium going.
Yeah.
And that was smart. He got the Grimoire out first, just so. Yep. And look at how much that paid off.
Oh.
He gets the Astro script.
Damn it. So
and I'm asking him to
coax him into hosting.
Yeah, I was trying to do a friendly reminder of his.
It worked.
There. But yeah, that was really good play on his prime. He goes down to 1 credit, but he was able to get his console out and the medium, which was enough to see the Astro script. And if I grab that Astro script, it's big trouble for him.
Yeah.
So that's a restructure drawn right there. Not something I particularly need right now, but okay, yeah, the medium is the huge threat right now. Oh. Install and advance twice. Is that an NAPD?
Uh-oh.
That you know what? I think that's actually the Beal. I think my plan was just to score the Beal out, but what happened is he heavily invested on R&D with the medium, so now my remote is totally secure again. And so I'm going to try and score out a 3 or 4 point Beal. I think that's what's going on. Because I couldn't let him get into R&D again, you know?
Right.
So even if I wanted to score the Beal out and go to match point, I couldn't let him get in 1 or 2 more. He'd be able to get in again, you know? And so Eli here is definitely going to slow down his medium play. He might just click it. No, it looks like he decides to end the run. I think I would... Well, there's other things going on probably, but I think I would want to click through Eli there.
Kadi's getting some action now.
Okay. Yeah, he's just taking some money there. And he also took the Astro script off the film critic, I think, on that turn. Or
yeah, it was the same turn that he hosted.
Oh, that he scored it? Okay.
Yeah. He didn't score it.
Okay, so that is... I missed the first click. Was that more ice on HQ, or was that the restructure
no, I think
being
that was
played?
Already there.
Okay.
So you advanced twice.
And then I either drew or maybe I put money in marked accounts. I missed the first click.
Yeah, same here.
Was it Sweeps Week maybe got played? I see Sweeps Week is on top.
Well, you're back up to, what, like 18 credits or so.
Yeah, that looks about right. It was funny there. Todd was just looking at me after that turn. He was just kind of looking at me, and then I realized that he didn't know that I had finished my turn. So
oh, I see.
it was just kind of a funny moment because he was just staring at me. I was like, "My turn's over." He's like, "Oh, okay." Todd's a really nice guy. I like playing against Todd. Very kind of chill. He usually comes with his son, who does quite well as well. There's got to be a better way to phrase that.
Yeah. They're. I haven't played against his son, but I played against him, and it was a pleasant experience.
Okay, I just realized what's going on now. That is definitely the Beal. Of course that's the Beal. There's nothing else that would advance that much. So I'm trying to score that out for the win here. If I score that out next turn, that it's a 4-point Beal, which 4 plus 3 is 7 in my book. How about your book?
It sounds about right.
Oh, so he's going into R&D though. This could be the loss right here.
Yeah, this is the trouble with medium.
And I
virus
probably could have
counters.
iced up R&D some more.
Yeah, it's tough. You get fixated on a thing away from.
Okay, so that's not the win. So he still needs another one. Oh, he sees an NAPD but doesn't have enough to steal it. I think he's 1 credit off.
Oh wow.
So that was his second click, and he seized a win there. And he also has bad publicity, so if he has enough cards in hand, he could just get in and steal it. So you just need to click once for credit and once run, right? And if he has enough cards, how many cards would it be? Eli would be 3 cards, right?
Well, he's got 3 data sucker counters.
Ooh, good point. Okay, so Eli is 2 cards, Wraparound is 1 card, and he needs to break the top sub of Architect.
And he's got a lot of cards in his hand.
He needs 6 cards to get through, by my math.
He probably has 6 or 7. Oh boy.
Or maybe just 5. He might only need 5.
He just mathed it.
Yeah, he's got this. And I'm so depressed right now. Like, oh, damn it. I almost had the Beal win. And he's definitely going to grab this. And look at that. That's because of Valencia. It's only because of the bad publicity right now. So he decides to just break the entire... Which is definitely the right move. He has to break all of the Architect. So he does win the game right there. He has to break the entirety of Architect, because otherwise... there could be something in Archives, like an Ash, that I can stick on R&D. And that is the Beal. So the next turn would have been a win.
Oh, boy.
And he scored 2 agendas on that medium dig.
That's rough.
Yeah, he played it well, though. You know, look at that. He had exactly the right number of cards to get in there at the end.
Right.
Yeah, he definitely earned it. That Faust medium is tough to shut down. If I had another piece of ice, then I think I could have done it, you know. I put the toll booth on the remote. In hindsight, that should have definitely gone on R&D.
Yeah, it's tough. Like I was saying earlier, a few moments ago, you get fixated on one thing and then sort of end up overlooking, the fact that R&D is slightly vulnerable or whatever,
Right. Yeah. Identifying where your risk is, where the threat is as the corp, is a big part of corp play. Like, what is the runner going to be doing here? Is my remote the problem? Is R&D? Do I have a bunch of agendas in HQ? These are the type of decision that if you could figure out the right answer to that, gives you a big advantage in these games.
Yeah.
So any less comments on that game?
No, it was a fun one. I think it was well played on both sides.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting game. You're seeing a big change in the meta right now with things like Faust and Street Peddler, and I don't know. There's the Street Peddler I've said in a previous video, but it's really interesting to me that it's one of the first cards that really gives the runner, like, there's some hidden information the runner has now.
Right.
And it's always been the case with things like SMC, like what's in their deck. You can make some assumptions, but with Peddler, you really have no idea. And it's really like running into a server. What are they going to res there? What are they going to install off Peddler? And
right.
Very, very interesting time to play the game.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, thanks, Calvin, for helping to commentate.
Thanks to you, Brian. And
this moves Todd ahead. Todd did very well on the day. He might be featured in some more videos here on the channel. I think we have another game here between Todd and myself, so we might do that one. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and we will have more up on the channel very soon.